Have you ever been told that you're too much or that you don't fit the mould? Whether you're a woman challenging gender norms or an Indigenous person confronting cultural bias or part of a marginalised community. Whether you've been told you're too short, too tall, too fat, skinny, rigid, compliant, old, young, introverted, extroverted, loud, quiet, blonde, red, dark, sexy, prudish, or whatever else. Society and people with an agenda can try to shrink you with stereotypes. But here's the truth. Too often, too much often means that you operate differently from the critics. In this video, let's unpack how to break free from limiting labels, reframe your narrative, and own your unique identity without apology. Because stereotypes can be like a silent cage. At work, in relationships, and in the community, many of us have felt it. Women are told they're too emotional, too bossy, and too ambitious. Go figure. Indigenous people and racial minorities are labelled as too aggressive, uneducated, and too rebellious. LGBTQI alphabet people are criticised for being too expressive, too different, and too much. And people with disabilities hear that they're too weak, too incapable, and too dependent. And these labels are not reflections of who you are. They are projections of who other people expect you to be. And here's the kicker. The moment that you try to conform, you abandon yourself. Stereotypes exist to limit your potential. Your job is to break them, not yourself. Your job is to break inappropriate limitations, not break yourself to try and fit in. Harvard implicit bias studies show that stereotypes influence decisions unconsciously and subconsciously, often reinforcing inequality than reflecting actual ability. A 2022 Diversity and Inclusion report found that women, minorities, and LGBTQI people are often overlooked for promotions, not due to lack of skill, but because they challenge societal norms. Psychology of stereotypes research reveals that people who label others as too much are often uncomfortable with the qualities that they have suppressed within themselves. Again, people who label others as too much are often uncomfortable with the qualities that they have suppressed within themselves. So what's the translation? When people say that you're too ambitious, too outspoken, too different, or too whatever else, this is not your burden to carry. It means you make me question the limitations that I have accepted for myself. So break free and redefine yourself. Early in my chiropractic career, I did what I was trained to do. I helped people to heal. I built a solid reputation, not because of my age, my gender, or appearance, but because patients got results. People trusted me, and practitioners referred their friends, their family, and their colleagues to see Dr. Joe. But there was one thing that I hadn't accounted for. I forgot that I was young and petite and female. And one day a new patient came in, let's call him Mr. Professional. He was everything society usually associates with credibility. Sharp suit, polished shoes and a confident stride. He exuded authority. He scanned me from head to toe and said, "I'm referred to see Dr. Joe, not you." So I just smiled and responded patiently that I am Dr. Joe, but he wasn't having it. He refused to see me and he walked out. And I was a bit stunned. I couldn't change my gender. I couldn't change my height. I couldn't change my age, but maybe I could look older and look more professional. So I started wearing ladies' suits with structured jackets. I put on more makeup for work and I wore heels to look taller. And looking back now, I see the irony. I altered my appearance to appease a man who had been personally referred to see me because I was the expert, and yet he rejected me on sight. That is the power of stereotypes. It had nothing to do with my skills. It had everything to do with his perception of what a doctor should look like. And the lesson? You can bend, shrink and reshape yourself to fit someone else's expectations, but at what cost? Mr. Professional never got the care he needed. In fact, he passed away not long after. And me? I eventually realised I didn't need to prove my worth to people who are unwilling to see it or who have an agenda to not see it. Break free, redefine yourself, reclaim your narrative, reflip your script. Recognise you are not the problem, the stereotype is. Reframe too much as strength. Reframe ambitious as visionary. Reframe emotional as empathetic leader. Reframe too outspoken as fearless truth teller. Reframe too different as trailblazer. Take the time to write down every negative label that you've been given and flip it into an empowering identity. And publicly demonstrate who you really are. Rather than defending yourself against stereotypes, prove it through your action. If they say you're unqualified, highlight your skills. Highlight your degrees or your accomplishments. If they say you're too aggressive, lead with strength and with compassion. If they say you don't belong, take up space boldly and visibly. You don't need to argue. Just show up as your highest self again and again and again until their words lose power. Be so good at what you do that they can't help but see the truth. Be so good at what you do that they will look foolish if they state anything to the contrary. Build your own space and community. Stereotypes thrive when you seek validation from the wrong people. Instead, build a network that celebrates your full self and people like you. Surround yourself with people who can see your value. Mentor others who face the same barriers. Create spaces, business, communities, movements, relationships and families where you and people like you don't have to fight for inclusion. You don't need a seat at someone else's table. Build your own. And this solves feeling unseen and unheard. Instead of shrinking, step into your power. This solves fear of judgment. Confidence replaces fear when you own your own identity. This solves barriers to work and life. Shift from fighting for a seat at the table to building your own success on your terms. Live a life of authenticity and power. When you dare to defy your stereotypes, you gain confidence. You stop seeking permission to be yourself. You gain respect. Not everyone will approve, but the right people will. They'll possibly even admire your courage and help them to step up as well. You gain freedom. No more playing small to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. This is how true leaders, innovators, change makers, and the like, this is how they rise, not by fitting in, but by standing out. This is how happy and fulfilled people, it's how they live, not by fitting in, but by being true to themselves in their own values, their own purpose, their own raison d'etre. Be the exception, not the rule. You're not here to be digestible, to be agreeable or small enough so that other people can be comfortable. You are here to expand. You're here to redefine. You're here to revolutionize and evolutionize. So, what is one stereotype that you've been labelled with? Flip it into a powerful strength. Show up totally and fully and completely and authentically as yourself, without apology. Because the world doesn't need yet another copy. It needs you. And wondering how I turn it off on this device.